Welcome to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, mum, FIFO wife, MBA, coffee lover, survivor superfan, and creator of the email experience. In Easy Email Marketing, you'll benefit from my nearly 20 years experience, where I'll be teaching you all the tips, tricks, and insider info on how to create feel-good, non-spammy experiences for your subscribers. Let's get stuck in. Welcome back to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, and today is part 3 of my series all about fixing your engagement with your emails. And specifically, I've been focusing in on the 4 engagement steps. So the previous 2 episodes, I covered deliverability, which is all about if someone even sees your email, if it's going to spam. Then last episode, I spoke about opens, and now we are digging into your clicks, which leads into the next one, which is all about sales conversions. So your subscriber needs to go through all of these 4 in order. So of course, each one builds on the previous. So they can't click on your email if they don't open it. And they can't open it if they don't see it. So far we've covered those steps. If you're struggling with opens or deliverability, definitely check those episodes out. But of course, if you already think those levels are pretty good and your biggest frustration is just why on earth aren't people clicking? I'm sending great content, people are opening, but my engagement rates, my click rates are just low. What am I doing wrong? And it's great that you're asking this question because clicks and also replies, I'm going to bundle replies in here as well because that's a similar indicator, a similar call to action. These are the biggest indicator to email inbox providers, so your Gmails, your Apple Mails, your Outlooks, that your emails are ones that your subscribers want, because they're interacting with them. They're more than just passive readers. Now they are actually clicking, replying, engaging, and doing things as a result of that email. And because of this, if someone does this and engages, then the placement of those emails will get better. So even if you don't get out of the promotions tab or the updates tab, what you will find is that your emails will be more likely to start appearing in the featured section rather than like dropping way down the list, because we're getting some more of these little algorithms and AI inbox helpers to try to make, inboxes more useful to their subscribers, and the way they're figuring out which are the most useful emails are, of course, the emails that people are clicking or replying to. So the biggest mistake that I see business owners make are that they give 0 non-sales click opportunities. It makes sense, but people don't really click, for lack of a better term, with this idea. So you think, okay, looking at your emails, ask yourself, what click or reply opportunities are you giving your subscribers? Have a good hard look at it. Do you just have a link hidden in the PS, that you think, oh, maybe if you want to book an appointment, you can do that here? Or are the only links you have things that say shop now? Or do you send emails that don't have anything to click on at all? If the only opportunity is shop now, or buy now, or book now, or look at these particular products, or check out this program, they're high commitment click opportunities. Yes, we want those. We want people to be clicking those emails and try to get them to the sales conversions. More on that in the next episode. But of course, we're not going to get higher clicks if we're not giving them the click opportunities that will encourage it. So we want low commitment click opportunities and engagement opportunities in our emails. And what's interesting is that it's a compounding effect, right? So if you aren't getting clicks for sometimes innocuous stuff, so voting on this poll, for example, if you're just not getting those extra clicks, we get this compounding effect where your sales clicks will drop too. Because, as I mentioned, if your emails aren't placed well, then people don't see them, they don't open them, and therefore they can't even see the sales opportunities. So we need to be highly strategic about making sure that we include low commitment click opportunities in the majority of emails that we send. So how do we increase these clicks? Well, as per usual, I want to take you through some of the key drivers of email engagement that form part of my program, Engaging Emails. But this time we'll start with driver 2, which is all about strategic content creation. So when you are developing your content strategy, your content plans, when you're brainstorming your email ideas, yes, we will have our emails, which include our sales opportunities or different times we're doing promotions or campaigns. What we need to think about now is, okay, how can I get engagement before those campaigns? How can I get people doing things between those moments? So this can include specifically planning campaigns that are asking questions, that are sending out great content, that are just giving them free gifts, that are like sending like clickable videos, that have like hot topic conversation starters. So really strategically thinking as part of your content plans, what are you doing before those sales emails and how can you leverage that? How can you use that time and that space to have a bit more fun and getting those clicks? Then when you do your sales promotions, already you've got this group of subscribers that are already more interactive with you. They have gotten into the habit of clicking and engaging, and of course those emails will go to the top of their promotions, etc. Next, let's look at driver 1, which is your design. So your design has a huge impact on your click rates. So of course, the obvious thought here is making sure we have lots of strong calls to action, and we want to make sure any links are highly visual, so high contrast, underlined text, buttons that really stand out, and giving multiple opportunities in the one email to click on the main thing that you want them to click on. Another really great strategy here is including contextual links. So what I mean by that is just as you are writing a sentence, if you reference a resource, if you reference a program or something, you just hyperlink it there. So you're giving a few more opportunities within the email, but it's not a push, it's just a natural mention, but they can see that it's a link because it's bright pink and it's underlined, etc. The next piece of space with your design that is totally underutilized is the PS. So stats show that actually between about 79 to 90% of readers scan the PS, and the hierarchy of people reading emails like they read the open and then they almost scroll straight down the bottom to that PS. So you could use this as a summary space, or you can use it as a separate call to action or something for them to do. So this is prime call to action, clickable real estate that we want to use. But beyond all of that main sort of content of your email, we want to think about what extras we can add. So there was this big shift, definitely 10 years ago, where we felt emails had to be pretty much just that text-based, simple layouts with a few links, etc. And they can be highly effective for many people. But what we forget is that we can also add extra real estate. So the main point of the email, the thing that you're wanting to express and talk about is in that body. But what about the pre-header? And what about this whole footer space after you sign off? Could you share an additional resource, an additional thing for someone to click? It could just be to a blog post. It could be like an old piece of content that's still relevant, but that will expand on the concepts of that email. It can be your featured products. These can be extra sales opportunities too. It could be extra resources. They could be thoughts, links to other people's content, links to socials, to videos, anything we think, okay, maybe it's just this little extra. It doesn't kind of fit 100% with the body content of the email, so it doesn't make sense to place it there. But hey, this is just something extra helpful that this person might like. Let's give them the opportunity to click it. Okay, now on to the fun one, our open and click rate boosters. So in Engaging Emails, I share a ton of practical and fun little strategies that you can use to get those extra clicks. Sharing a few here, it's just about getting creative and thinking about different ways you can get that engagement. So things like adding clickable polls, like vote on this by click option A, option B, option C. Maybe you embed or link to a quiz or a survey, something fun. Videos with that play button are really, really effective. So anytime you put a video in an email, it doesn't actually play the video in the email, it links out to it. But you just put that play button because people are like, oh, I want to click play. Share additional resources. So this could be downloadables or PDFs that you have that maybe they just get now and then, that are extra bonuses. They could be through to blog posts, to podcast episodes, to other content. You could also link to other people's resources. They don't have to be your things. You can say, these are some great people I love to follow. This is a great tool that I use. So link to those things, because even if it's not going to your website, it still is a valuable piece of engagement. Roundups are a great strategy. So you can do the top 5 people to follow, or here's my top 5 blogs on such and such a topic, and having multiple ways in which people can click there. And asking questions, and specific questions. Don't just say, so what do you think? Say things at the end when you're having a conversation, say, what's your take on this? Or how does this topic impact your life, your business? And ask for replies and start this conversation. And the brilliant part about that strategy is, of course, that naturally leads into those sales opportunities too. There are even things you can do like gamification. I know MailModo even has things like you can create your own Wordle and put it in email. So things that just get people to have some fun. So think about what you can do just to make it more interactive and fun, basically. And now onto the more sort of advanced drivers. Next up are your essential email automations. And this, of course, is all about timing. People are always more likely to click on an email that's sent at the right time based on their behavior and what they have done. So automations have 332% higher click rates compared to normal campaigns. That's according to Omnisend. So that is a lot. And as I said, it's because when those automated emails arrive, they're active, they're interested. Of course, when you send out a lead magnet and someone clicks, they'll go to the inbox to download that lead magnet. That is the big reason that I say never deliver your PDF or resource immediately after someone fills in a form. Make them go to the inbox to click the link. Because 1, that makes sure they receive the email. 2, it gives that first signal, they go open and they click and they get their resource that way. But of course, those open rates are going to be much higher. But we need to think about this as well in terms of that the welcome series or those types of emails will always have higher click rates as well. And sometimes we focus in so much here on the sales part of this welcome series or our sales funnels, but think about how you could perhaps use some of those creative click boosters within your automations just to up level it as well. Because what happens here is if we get those opens and then we get those clicks on those welcome emails, those first emails that people get, then of course that translates into your ongoing emails continuing to place well. And then finally, driver 7, looking at your segmenting and your personalization. So this is all about relevance. If what you are presenting to people to click is more relevant to them, of course, they are more likely to click. So this comes down to, okay, if we're sending different emails to different people based around their interests or things you know about them, then of course, the click rates will be higher because it is relevant. But we can also go deeper here. We can think about things like conditional content blocks, which are about showing different content to different subscribers within the same email. So say, for example, I was sending an email out about email automations and in that email, I have a number of people in my audience that are in different niches. So service-based businesses, digital creators, e-commerce stores. So they all have different interests. But I don't want to go and send, 5 different emails. So I might just have hey, this is an email all about, email automations are really, really important because X, Y, and Z. But then I can have one block in that email, which is like a call to action that says, if you are an e-commerce business, here's a free download or an article all about e-commerce automations. And then I have a different version for services and a different version for digital creators. And because it's more relevant, they will more likely click on it rather than just saying, here's a generic guide. And we can do that using conditional content blocks based around what we know about people. And so using that same theory, we can have different calls to action based around different segments, etc. So we can start to make these calls to action, make the clickable opportunities, even make the questions, whatever it is, more relevant to the individual subscriber based around what we know about them. So as you can see, it can get quite complex, but as an overarching theme, I would just love you to step back and think, anytime you are creating an email, getting into the habit of asking yourself, what do I want my subscriber to do as a result of this email? And every email should have something you want them to do. So click, reply, one of those two things. Yes, the click can be a buy click, and we'll talk more about that with the sales conversions in next episode. But for any that aren't explicitly sales, what are some of the other things you can get them to do? So think about that as a one last filter before you click send on the emails. So if you've been listening to this thinking that you need more creative ideas or practical suggestions and strategies, or maybe that segmenting side of things appealed to you, to help increase your clicks, then I suggest you check out my program, Engaging Emails. So not only is there a complete driver and module dedicated to practical open and click rate boosters, but I would also definitely point you in the direction of conversion-focused email design, where I talk about all of those hidden click opportunities you can find just in the way you design and build your emails, and it can be done really, really easily through creating some great, simple to use templates and content blocks. And once you've got that set up, you would be able to get these much more clickable emails set up in like 10, 20 minutes max, not going and redesigning and making these big fancy things every single time. Of course, email design is just one of the 7 drivers that affect whether your emails are engaging. Engaging emails covers the full picture though. So that strategic content creation, that deliverability, those automations, those segmenting, that sales conversions, all of it, the whole iceberg, not just the bit above the surface. So learn more all about that at yaelkeown.com/engage. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love to hear from you, what you've enjoyed from this episode, what takeaways, what click strategies you might be using, or what you want to know more about in future episodes. Let me know over on Instagram. I'm at yaelkeown, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Easy Email Marketing. It's an absolute honour that you chose to listen. If you love this episode, then it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review so that others can find this podcast and make their email marketing easy too. Finally, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Until next time, have an awesome day and make sure to keep showing up and serving in those inboxes.